ahead France 2019 fierce test for Super Falcons in Spain. So after pounding a first division club, well, by the way, if you'd like to join the conversation, you can do that by sending your messages to WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. On Twitter, we are at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag LockerRoom981, and we're streaming live on YouTube.
That's right.
YouTube is Smooth 981 FM. Look for it, search the search box, and you will find it. All right, straight on to our first story for today. After pounding a first division club from Iceland, that's UMFCL, for 6-1 on Friday, Nigeria's Super Falcons face a more worthwhile test when they square up to their Canadian counterparts in a friendly match in the city of Murcia, Spain today. Oh, I got that right. All right, so on Monday, coaches Thomas Denby and Kenneth Heinamola will send out their strongest squads on the turf of Pinata Stadium for a real test, 2 months before the big showpiece begins in France. Kenneth has made it known that he values the encounter with the African champions, as it would enable him to anticipate what to expect against the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon, whom Canada tackled in the first match of the 8th FIFA Women's World Cup Finals in Montpellier on 10th of June.
Yes, so this is very important to the Canadians. A good, what would I say, a good team or a good rival to measure how prepared they are in their to face their World Cup match against Cameroon. So perfect rivals for them. Perfect competition from Nigeria, because you thrash a team from Iceland, 6-1. That's not the real test. That's training.
Okay.
And that's what you do in training ground. Team A versus Team B, whoever wins. But you face Canada, one of the top teams in women's football. Then you start to say, okay, are we really sure we are going to be able to face a team like France, who are at the World Cup and in that group? So you're just looking at them like, okay, you're ready. Canada, remember, beat the England women's team in England just a few days ago. And I know some English people say, no, it was Phil Neville that didn't put up the right women. He did set the structure right. The formation was this. The Canadian girls are not spring chicks. I mean, you have to think about it. A lot of them were trained in the US. One of the strongest teams in women's football. Yeah. So it was always going to be a tough task. So Nigeria is going to face that test, and we're going to see exactly how prepared we are to take on the rest of the world. Please, I don't want to see tweets of they're killing them. We don't tweet that when the Super Eagles are playing. Let's try not to tweet like that when the Super Falcons are playing. But I think I don't know if Oshoala is back on the team. Okay. But regardless of that, there'll be sufficient amount of Super Falcons available to play the friendly. So let's see what we are ready for. But the good news here, again, I'm going to keep saying, is that the Nigerian Super Falcons are playing friendlies.
Yay!
I'm still in shock. I will believe it after the World Cup.
Until you see it happen.
And they're not playing against boys.
And they're not playing against, boys and 11 sisters. Yes. Yeah. Playing against Canada. Good.
All right, let's go talk some more about football. This time around, 5 members of the national under-17 team of the Golden Eaglets that helped the team lift the WAFU B under-17 championship in Niger Republic want to be part of the squad to the under-17 African Cup of Nations, as they failed to scale through the magnetic resonance imaging MRI test. That is, now, top among the list is one of the best players in the Nigerian team, goalkeeper John Ike Dinachukwu Ama, who had a near-perfect display at the WAFU Championship, or WAFU B Championship, which Nigeria won on penalty kicks after drawing 1-1 with Ghana in the final. Why is this interesting?
Well, okay, so first of all, you have 5.
Yes.
And one of them, actually, the goalkeeper was actually active through the tournament.
Yes.
And if you go through that list, you'd start wondering, okay, if up to 5 of them fail this, should we still be champions of that tournament? That's one.
Who's left?
Then two. Every age group tournament under 17, we have this recurring problem, and it's almost as if every time we come back and we say, oh, they've made a lot of progress in trying to weed out overage players, and we still have numbers as high as 5. 5 is a large number, however you slice it.
5 is who they call to.
You know, and if memory serves me correctly, I may be wrong, but didn't just before this tournament, this same tournament, didn't they say that they went through this process of MRI scanning? So at what point did their bones change?
Look, again,
I'm just worried.
I said this MRI is not 100%. So,
so now
yeah,
I'm faulting the-
no. This
the-
MRI is not 100%. So what I'm saying is basically sometimes if you're younger and you have injuries, it can read your bones as older. If you're older, sometimes you can scale it, and I will tell you why. My 30-year-old friend scaled MRI test. He was under 17. Easy. But
he had the bones of a 17.
Yeah, but his younger brother, who was also older than 17, failed the test. So sometimes I'm not saying it's 100%. I'm not saying that the MRI is at fault. I'm just saying sometimes you can even beat the same MRI test. So there must be something better that can help us weed out these people earlier.
But really, at the fundamental. The fundamental base of this really is that there is an apparent, and we keep saying every time that we need to do better, go to the drawing board. We still do not have a structure for youth football that will make this less of an issue every time.
Yeah.
If we had that, we wouldn't have to do this MRI scan thing, and then you won't have this epileptic performance.
True.
At this rate, I have hope of passing an MRI scan.
Yeah.
There's hope for me.
Just be healthy.
It's not late.
The way I'm looking at you.
Hey,
the way I'm looking at you.
If the scan says I am under 17, then
you're
so
under
be it.
17. All right.
Sign of the heart of man.
Okay, let's go on. Anyways, guys, you want to see what Uncle Buru looks like? You need to go onto our YouTube page. We're streaming live right now. Smooth 98.1 FM is the place to go to now. Leclerc to use faulty Bahrain engine at Chinese Grand Prix. So moved on to Formula One.
Yes.
Charles Leclerc will use the engine which cost him victory in Bahrain at the Chinese Grand Prix. A cylinder failure on Leclerc's V6 turbo engine robbed him what would have been a maiden F1 victory, having dominated the race after claiming his first pole position. Now, Ferrari conducted an analysis of the faulty engine at its factory in Italy between races. It has traced the fault to a short circuit within an injection control unit. The team says he has never encountered such an issue on that component before.
Okay, so this is first time. Now you've encountered it. Can you sort it out? And let's move on. But what it is that they fix it. And the reason why they have to do this is that if they keep changing too many parts in the engines early, they are going to pick up penalties later in the season. I think before it used to be 5 engines you could change, but now it's just 3. So they've reduced the number before you start picking up penalties. I mean, and so they didn't. It's not like they had much of a choice. So before you start saying they've already started to plan Charles Leclerc's failure again in China, no, it's not that. They had to repair it to use the engine so that they don't pick up penalties. And I'm sure they've sorted it out. But what it is because they're trying to push their cars and their engine parts to compete in aerodynamics and pace against Mercedes. There's always a problem on the other end. So they have to find a holistic way of dealing with that car. And this is the problem they're finding this season. So this season, everybody knew from Barcelona testing that they were the fastest. And it showed during the qualifying last weekend and some parts of the race. But it seems like they're compromising something to get that pace. And that's what they need to find out. How do we balance the two? The other 2 seasons ago, it was that the car was overheating a lot and the cooling system couldn't work, and it was because they were trying to get a little faster. So they have for Ferrari. So they have to find that balance for their team to be able to succeed.
All right, thank you very much. We need to go on a break right now. When we come back, we'll continue with the sporting stories. Now, Lagos and the rest of the world, please do not go anywhere. Tega and Brutalistix are still in the studio.
I just wanted you to read this one news. Okay.
Which one? Oh, okay. El Postolero. But he just came in now. Was he here before? Hi, everyone. So you have the pleasure of not just seeing Tega's face, but you can see Uncle Gruber's face.
Yeah. Before we go there, let's do business. So when you come back,
see how,
okay, no, you're the one coming back. When you come back, you read that. Ayo will read the message. But we have to take this Unai Emery because of Kwesi. Then we can now go back to Barcelona. So Unai, then Barcelona.
So
he'll read Unai, then he'll give it back to you to read Barcelona.
I'll do Bahrain.
because of the question.
Okay, can I go back to saying hello to my
Please continue.
Hi,
Hello, everybody.
So this is what Tega does to us behind the scenes. She bullies us. Like, my time. This is not the time for talking. Let's move. But that time, but Uncle Brubu is a gentleman, very gentle. Comes into the studio, is
He's a very good punching bag. When you hit him,
look at that.
Your fist bounces back. I mean, it's really cool.
Just look at your girl, Tega.
All the more reason why I'll pass on MRI scans. Believe it. I will pass it.
Okay. If you get on the pitch, the referee will send you back. Referee will be like, no, it is no.
But I passed.
No, come on, be going. Don't mind them. Continue to carry our bias and say you can sneak through. It's just very bad.
They refuse to develop academy football or make it compulsory for teams to have genuine.
You can't be 17 and play in the MPFL. Let's not even lie.
No, you can't. You
cannot.
Play
for MPFL.
Even I would argue, even the NNL as it is now, you will struggle to play as a 17-year-old.
No, you will not play. You will not play.
That one.
I'll send a grapevine.
Oh, you have them.
Can say what they want, but you will not play.
I can't search.
I don't care what they try to sell you.
I don't carry all this load. Okay, guys, mic's up now.
Okay.
Yes, this is your Love Music, Love Life station, Smooth 98.1. It's the locker room as part of Smooth Breakfast here with Valentine.
And with Ayo. Remember our WhatsApp number for your messages is 0809-444-0981. Please send your messages so we can take them from there. And let's go to Unai, talk Arsenal. Unai Emery insists that Arsenal need balance in both halves after losing 1-0 to Everton. Imagine. Now, although he remains positive about their league position, he said that they still have a top 4 finish in their hands. Although he said, and I quote, "Today, there were 2 different halves. In the first half, we were consistent. We didn't concede good chances for them, but they scored from one throw-in, unfortunately for us. And in the attacking third, we needed more." He continues to say, "We need over 38 matches to be consistent, and today we lost this, but are going to have chances in the next matches. It depends on us and other teams, but after the results, we can be negative because 3 points less." Because of 3 points less, but it is in our hands. Continue to take chances and the opportunity to be in the top 4. Speaking of all this grammar,
yes. Bottom line, they had the opportunity to go third. They didn't go third, and that's why they are where they are. But before we go into the analysis of that story, and Brutalistix will take us now today so that people will forgive me. Let me remind you again, there was the relegation battle this weekend also at the bottom of the table, and Bournemouth, which was in 12th place, took on 17th place, formerly 17th place Burnley, and there was all to play for in that game, and you could see that game on Kwese TV. So if you have a phone, iOS, Android, just go to your app store and download the Kwese iFlix so that you can watch the EPL for free. And this English Premier League on Kwese is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Premier League. Now to the top of the table where the battle is.
Okay, so let me just start by saying that not many people at the beginning of the season even saw Arsenal anywhere near the top 4. And for very long periods, they were battling with 5th and 6th consistently and all of that stuff. So to a point, there's a measure of credit that they need to be given for having gotten themselves somewhere in this battle for third, even as it is. That said, yesterday was one of those days that they typically have on an away day. For some reason, they just become, I don't know, midgets, or for literally they just become light-footed, lightweight, weak-spirited people whenever they're away from home, and it fathoms. You find it hard to explain. Everybody had a poor performance across the pitch.
From the coach.
The coach I thought started the wrong team.
Thank you.
He set up the team wrong. By the time he he finally developed sense and got the team in the second half. You then had an Everton side that was now content defending and playing the long balls early, because that was what worried Arsenal throughout that game. Early balls from Pickford, Calvert-Lewin winning the first ball, nobody challenging that. It was just that midfield was wrong. And for those who have often wondered why Mesut Ozil typically doesn't play away from home, you saw that yesterday again. He was a shadow of himself. He left Ainsley Maitland-Niles exposed in the wide areas to double teams and the overloads. He wasn't offering anything offensively as such in team. It was just, and this is the same team that they play at the Emirates. They're wonderful, fearless, and all of that. So it's something that they have to address going through the rest of this season. Because guess what? They have more away games than home games to play. And if you do that, if you keep playing like that, you'll be out of the top 4 so quickly. You may end up even being out of the Europa League just as fast.
And then exactly
slots.
And then Danny Rose now start laughing at you.
Everybody will laugh at you.
No, Danny Rose's laughter is worse.
Why do I suspect that Tega, your laughter is worse? That's when you laugh now. I'm like, I do not want to be laughed at by you. All right, let's go on to YouTube. We are Smooth FM 98.1. We're live there and we can see your comments. I'll read from Emmanuel Peter, who said, "Great job, guys. Shout out to El Postolero. Please educate me. Who is El Postolero?"
El Pistolero?
Yeah. Oh, we don't know. Okay. He then goes on to say, "I love you, Tega. I always wait for your analysis after any Barcelona match. We're about to do that now. Hope you saw Ole at Camp Nou, wondering what would be going on in his head after the match." Alex Okonkwo says, "Arsenal slipping up makes the top 4 battle more interesting. Now the chances are balanced for the 4 teams vying for 3rd and 4th. I call Arsenal. I'm with Unai on this one. All right, so Barca took 2 steps towards title with Atletico win, says Suarez. Barcelona forward Luis Suarez says his side had taken 2 steps towards wrapping up the La Liga title after beating closest challengers Atletico Madrid 2-0 at home on Saturday to open up at an 11-point gap at the top of the table with 7 games left. He said, "Today we didn't just take 1 step. We took 2 steps forward. We obviously have a very big advantage now, but there's still some games to go and it could still get difficult," said Suarez. "This was another game which shows just how hard it is to win the league and we deserve a lot of credit for what we are achieving."
Yes, really, really good game. If you ask me, head to head, apart from the Champions League when it mattered to Barcelona at some point, but head to head, especially in La Liga and Copa del Rey and every other place they've met, Barcelona has completely dealt with Atletico Madrid every time. Sometimes it doesn't even matter the team they put out. But on Saturday, they looked like they were having a great game up until Diego Costa speaks and gets a red card. Now there's controversy. There are different controversial reports coming out, and you could even tell from the pitch that there was a misunderstanding. So Costa obviously swears at the referee. And then the referee gives him a straight red card, which is strange. Normally for this end, they'll give you a yellow card. But the referee now comes to say that Diego said something insulting to his mother. And Diego is saying that I swore, but I didn't say anything insulting to your mother. Now, I totally understand, because even when the referee supposedly repeated what Diego Costa said to Diego Costa's captain, Diego Costa got upset that that's not what I said on the pitch. So I don't think he's lying. I think, again, lost in translation. I know he swore, and I know it's something that could get him a red card. I think he said, "Hijo e puta." That's what I think he said.
And what does that mean?
But
can you say it?
You can't say it on morning radio. We can't even say it at all.
You can't say it.
We can only say it in Spanish.
And then, but what the referee claims he said was something totally different and even worse. That, when he repeats it to people, they're like, okay, that deserves a red card. So I think that's where the trouble is. But what's going to be in the referee's official report is what the referee heard, or what the referee thinks he had. But all in all, that red card comes and the game completely changes for Atletico Madrid. So now they are on the defensive, and if they do get a chance, then they go out to score, which make them, they are literally competing in a 100-meter dash with a twisted ankle or sprained ankle, and that just made it harder for them. But Barcelona still found it hard to break them down. From inside the box, from outside the box, I counted on the day Messi against what's his name, Jan Oblak. Oblak was 4-0 at some point until Messi scored the goal. Then it was now 4-1. But every time Messi got the ball against Jan Oblak was ready for him.
Wow.
In the air, on the ground, anywhere you want it. But eventually Suarez broke and Suarez is such an interesting guy. He plays rubbish for 85 minutes. Then he has one bright spark and it's a wonderful goal. And that's how he plays most of the time. So you're watching him throughout the first time, this Suarez is playing rubbish. Let him buy another striker. Second half, hat-trick. He just does things like that. He just comes on and goes off. And then Messi, of course, gets his goal. But what it means is that if you ask me, from here that I'm sitting, 11 points is so great a gap for Atletico Madrid to catch up on. But the season is still, they still have a few more games. They can hope. They can hope.
All right, so keeping hope alive. Do you have anything to say?
No. I was just going to say, Diego Costa will always be Diego Costa. If I was Diego Simeone, I would terminate his contract and let him go with his temper. It's a consistent thing with him, and you can't continue to do this sort of like throwing tantrums and histrionics every time, swearing and creating problems. That's it. 2 great goals from Barcelona. End of game.
Thank you.
All right, so German champions Bayern Munich thrashed their title rivals Borussia Dortmund to move back to the top of the Bundesliga with 6 games remaining. Dortmund, who were 2 points clear heading into this match, were shell-shocked following a ruthless first-half display from the hosts. But Bayern's slip-up last week against Freiburg suggests that there could still be more twists to come.
Yes, and Bayern themselves have not been in great form this season again. I've been wondering what is going to happen with this managerial position, but they seem to stick with him. However, Dortmund have had a very bad past, maybe 4 or so weeks. And so where they were leading comfortably in the Bundesliga, they're now struggling. Yes, they were two points up against Bayern before this game. And this game is where they should have shown that, yes, we want to be champions and we are determined to take it further. They get into a game against fellow title contenders, 5-0. You don't need this trophy if you are losing a decider like that by 5-0. However, it is true that Bayern Munich has had some struggles this season, and they may have some struggles towards the end of the season. That's the only hope I think Dortmund have.
All right.
The only hope.
All right, thank you very much. We're still hopeful, and we will still be back here on the locker room, but we'll be wrapping up when we come back as we finish at 6:45. Stay tuned.
Hey, this is Frank McComb. And you're listening to Nigeria's #1 station for soul, jazz, and funk. Love
You can't do it without resident.
What's up, please?
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
I'm sending the songs for.
Okay.
It's just over. I don't know what else to do. I don't know why we would need all this drama. But we'll be collecting international grants. This is why people went to school. When are you going to get there and change this law? Okay. When are you going to get there and change? I need these laws changed. These laws are the ones holding us back, are the kind of things that hold us back.
You what? Okay.
So the next story, you read the Kevin De Bruyne story,
Okay.
and then you take over.
Okay, we have a comment. We have 2 comments. One on 8:20. The messages are coming in late. I don't know why. So I have a feeling we might have more. And Val, please give me the guinea phone. Thank you.
How do I go about it? Open the Google Play Store, download the Fair Money app. You don't need collateral or sign plenty papers. I just got an alert in less than 5 minutes. Just visit fairmoney.com.
So you just quickly wrap up on the, so that we'll read 1 or 2 messages. Because we have to do that Kevin De Bruyne story because the match is tomorrow.
Okay. So we'll just come back, wrap up. I'll keep the messages to when you're done. Because we only have 2 or 3. Then I know how to now do. When we're now about to wrap up, they're not starting any messages.
No, I think it's in network. That's when it starts flooding.
Yeah, true. Because 8:27 is not.
Start your day right with tasty goodness from new Manado like flat spread for bread.
Mexico wrestles with influx of migrants. Don't worry, they'll soon scale the wall.
Like flat spread for bread. Deliciously nourishing for a bright start.
I don't know how people can sit down. Are we back in?
Back in soon.
Listen to them every day as they represent you passionately.
Hi guys, I hope you're entertained by my song singing.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the messages are coming.
The messages will hang off. Yes, then we wait. Let's
wait.
do this.
My mics are going up. Studio live. All right, it's the last leg for the Locker Room 981 here on Smooth 98.1, part of Smooth Breakfast with Valentine.
And Ayo.
And we also have with us Tega and Brutalistix.
Uncle Bruber.
Uncle Bruber. Before we went on that break, we were talking about the German Bundesliga, and I think Tega had mentioned. But very quickly, we'll go on to our final story for today. Kevin De Bruyne believes the atmosphere has little impact on their Champions League clash. So Man City midfielder Kevin De Bruyne believes the atmosphere at Tottenham's new stadium will be similar to Wembley and expects it to have little impact on their Champions League clash.
Well, you get there and play first, and then you figure it out. But
I thought so too.
Tottenham started got their first game back at the stadium with a win. So that's actually pretty good for them. They don't have these hoodoos that West Ham had when they moved to the Olympic Stadium about trying to bed in and things like that.
Yeah.
Look, it's a different proposition from the performances that they've had in the league. This is one of those like knockouts, literally winner takes all kind of things. So Manchester United and fans of Manchester United cannot take it for granted that they're just going to walk all over
Manchester City. Sorry.
I beg your pardon, Manchester City. I was thinking about the beating that they're likely to get against, but let's not finish that. So Manchester City currently with a chance to win the quadruple, having done quite well in their FA Cup game over the weekend against Brighton and Hove Albion, even though they struggled a little bit, will probably face yet another test playing away at the Tottenham's stadium. The Tottenham squad is hungry. They've got a lot of their key players back. Kane, Dele Alli and co, Son Heung-min as well. All of that puts together sets the picture for an interesting Premier League-ish Champions League game, and it promises to be good. The atmosphere will be just as important and will probably play a key factor in how that game goes.
All right, brilliant. Thank you so much indeed. Now, before we wrap up, just one or two comments here. We have this one here from Shegun in Ikorodu. Shegun says,
Arsenal losing the Arsenal way whenever they go. 2 goals in 2 minutes. Dearly beloved EPL fans, pray for United, he said.
All right. Lookman from Ijebode says, Emery should forget about making top 4. He should do a Mourinho and focus on winning Europa League. A very good one for Watford at Wembley yesterday. All right, final comment here before we call it today.
And this is from Chimobi Victor from Alaba International. Chimobi says, Arsenal, why did you decide to slip upon the bicycle? Because I've been thinking how Tega is going to bash us at the locker room today, but we're used to it already.
All right, you can take some more bashing directly from Tega's Twitter handle at Tega Supreme. Whilst the match is going on, she gives fantastic analysis on her Twitter handle. And you can also see what she's up to with ladies in sports at LIS International. And find me Uncle Bruber on Twitter at Brutalistix. He's there and he'll also be commenting and responding to your comments as well. You can find us collectively at Smooth 91 FM and individually at Valentine Ohu
and at Ayo Mairo Ese.
But we're still here. We're not going anywhere. Lagos Talks 91 in 14 minutes.